high school sports fans. Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
We are live in Rockville Center, New York for the regular season finale between a pair of teams that reside in Nassau County as Southside looking to lock up the #1 seed in the upcoming playoffs. It's the Plainedge Red Devils visiting the Southside Cyclones here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. So glad you could join us as our sponsor, the Lucchese family. We would like to thank them for helping us showcase what should be an entertaining finish to the regular season. Lance Meadow with you here on Long Island as we gear up for the 7-8 Red Devils colliding with the 11-4 Cyclones, as Plainedge is looking to bounce back after dropping 2 straight games, including earlier this week to Port Washington, a 14-2 affair. Most of the regulars did not play in that contest, whereas Southside was on the wrong end of a heartbreaker to Manhasset, 14-8. That snapped a very strong stretch here by the Cyclones, in which they have rallied, specifically the win on April 30th over Syosset, 13-12, where they trailed 10-5 entering the fourth, and then outlasted Wantagh in overtime, 13-12 on May 2nd. They've been road warriors. This is their first home game since April 22nd. Last 6 have been away from Rockville Center, New York, as Southside trying to get into playoff form. Plainedge, a relatively young team that has been unfortunately plagued by injuries. They're down their #1 scorer, Owen Donnellan, and we'll talk a lot about him throughout the broadcast. They've had to move personnel around between the midfield and the attackmen, and there's growing pains as a result of that. So we look at Christian Dewana as he is warming up, and let's take a look at Plainedge's highlighted players here. On the offensive side, it's all about Brian Keaveney. Team high 31 goals, 5 goals in his last appearance against Wantagh. And then on defense, Jackson Goronski, who defends the opposing best player, and he has been a consistent force on that side of the ball. For Southside, it's their regulars who have been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And yes, John Hawthorne is now considered a regular. He has been magnificent as of late. 13 goals in the last 5 games. And then John Kufta leads the team in forced turnovers. Steve DiPietro has been so excited about the development of those 2 players. Let's look at Plainedge's starting lineup. And as I mentioned, they have had to overcome the injury bug, so you do not see Owen Donnellan in that mix. Brady Kelly, Brian Keaveney, Andrew Picardi now are the 3 attackers, and Keaveney had to move from the midfield. Same thing with Picardi, who is arguably their best midfielder. So they have really had to experiment in terms of igniting their offense, and that process will continue over the course of this game as they're hoping to get everybody back for the start of the postseason. And the guy between the pipes that they will be leaning on is Christian Dewana, who has been a staple for the program. Senior year, 48% saves, and 140 saves against 149 goals allowed. And Dan Achatz says when he plays well, the rest of the team feeds off of that. And speaking of that man, Dan Achatz, who took over mid-season last year, has tried to put his stamp all over this program. So this is his first full season, and he has changed the standards in play, going down from the development of the youth into what he expects from their parents. Let's look at the Southside Cyclone starters, and it's all about Luke Mullen as well as Cullen Lynch. Those are the two prolific scorers for this squad. They have been magnificent all season long. Mullen, 45 goals, leads the team. Cullen Lynch right behind him with 34, and he is second on the team with 51 points. That is who Plainedge is going to have to keep in check throughout the course of this contest. And Southside relying on a switch at their goaltender position because Cole Schiffelbein is alternating this season with Jack DeSarlo. And this has been a routine that has worked out extremely well for Southside, as Schiffelbein, 59 saves, 52 goals allowed, saving at a 53% rate. Steve DiPietro in his 17th season. He helped them win the state title last season, a 21-1 mark. They're younger, 7 sophomores, 1 freshman this year, but they are still in position to grab the number 1 overall seed at 11-4 through their first 15 games, this being number 16. DiPietro, a product of West Hempstead High School, class of 1992, closing in on 200 wins. We are inching closer to the opening face-off. We will step aside momentarily as we are going to honor what is one of the most accomplished players in Long Island lacrosse history, who unfortunately lost his life this past weekend, as we send it over to the public address announcer.
Good afternoon and welcome to Southside High School. For this matchup between the Red Devils of Plainedge High School and the home team Southside Cyclones. Southside High School would like to remind you that spectators are an important part of the game and shall at all times conform to accepted standards of good sportsmanship and behavior. Spectators shall at all times respect officials, coaches, and players. Wholesome cheering is encouraged. Before we begin the national anthem, please stand and join us in a moment of silence for Plainedge High School alumni, Vincent Cavalieri and Gino Vicali. We remember their lives and offer our deepest condolences to their families and friends.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net. It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
Back here in Rockville Center, New York, as we are getting ready for the opening face-off between Plainedge and Southside, the Nassau County regular season finale for both teams. Before we get ready for this contest, let's take you through the keys to the game for each team. And for Plainedge, it's all about goalie Christian Dewana. He needs to be locked in early, can't give up any easy goals. The offense needs to move the ball. Spacing creates confidence for this squad. And then they've got to win the faceoffs thanks to Devin Gorman. He's got to get close to 50%, according to their head coach. Southside, good start. Didn't have a great energy grouping in their last game Tuesday against Manhasset. Fell behind 5-1 after the first quarter. Have to limit the turnovers. They've been inconsistent in ball security, according to Steve DiPietro. And then finish opportunities. They have the talent, sometimes get too caught up in being fancy and getting away from the fundamentals. So those are the keys to today's game, as Southside looking to record its 12th victory of the season and 6th in the conference. Plainedge trying to get back to 500 and looking for its 4th victory in conference play, as this Southside squad transitioning to a younger nucleus this year with 7 sophomores and 1 freshman. And you would think with inexperience would come a bit of ups and downs, but that has not been the case for this team. After 21-1, posting that record last season, still in great position for the number 1 overall seed. And it says a lot about what Steve DiPietro has been able to build over the course of his near 20 years running this lacrosse program. Plainedge in a different position as they welcome in Dan Acketts in his first full season. And he says, based on where his team is right now, if you would have told him that at the beginning of the year, he would have gladly taken that, given how many players they have been missing throughout the course of this season. He's anxious to get to the playoffs because if they can get all hands on deck, he feels as if this team could very well start clicking and playing its best lacrosse. And if you could get back Owen Dinellen, that could very well do wonders for their offensive attack. And that will tell an awful lot about the outlook for this team. So the opening face-off just about getting underway as we look at Devin Gorman and Alec Notaro. Notaro 56%, Gorman at 46%. And we go back to our keys. Southside, they're looking to get off to a fast start, given they were down by 4 goals after the first quarter of their last contest. So this could be an opportunity to set the tone early, and it is Notaro that does not waste any time. Immediately will set up his offensive attack, and that is good news for the Cyclones, who are in white with Plainedge in black, and a Southside offensive attack that has scored double-digit goals in 10 of their 15 games, looking to once again establish their identity in the early stages of this contest. And Brendan Vetter, the junior midfielder, leaving it for Jack Muscarella as they work it around the perimeter. Hawthorne has the ball. He's the guy to keep close tabs on, with 13 goals in the last 5 games, 3 games with 3+ goals. The Southside's bouncer from Muscarella goes wide, and it is going to head the opposite way. And now actually they're going to keep it here. Initially, the official was pointing in the opposite direction, but clearly Southside was closest to the ball. They tried to get it into the crease. Here's Mullen, and Dewana able to establish his presence early on here. And that is going to be key for them, given how dangerous Luke Mullen is. 4 games with 5+ goals. He just had 1 goal in Tuesday's loss to Manhasset. But he's got 45 on the season. And a turnover is going to allow Southside to look for an opportunity again early. Something that Plainedge talked about they had to avoid. An early mishap. And Southside now looking to capitalize. As Vetter slowing things down here. After missing last year, tore his ACL his freshman season. Hawthorne shot off the mark. Dewana got a piece of that. Hawthorne playing with so much confidence, according to Steve DiPietro. And he is now a legitimate scoring threat for them. And it's scary to think they already have Mullen and Lynch, and now you add Hawthorne into the mix. It just goes to show you how many players the opposition has to focus in on. It's not just a 2-man game anymore. It has completely changed the dynamics of this Cyclone squad as Mullen fires and connects. So Luke on the spot early with his 46th goal of the season, the leading scorer delivering, and it is Southside striking first over Plainedge 1-0 as we take another look. They gave him just enough open space, and off the dodge, he was able to direct it towards the top shelf of the left corner. So another face-off coming here, and again, Southside in possession. Mullen flipping it over to Muscarella. As Southside already changing the script compared to their last game against Manhasset on Tuesday, where they trailed 5-1 after the first quarter. Spreading the wealth here. Here's Nate Schwartzberg. And that shot is blocked by Dewana, who is nearly face down on that one, but was able to sacrifice his body to deny Southside an opportunity to pad its lead. So Plainedge now has a golden opportunity here in possession. We've seen a turnover after they made an initial stop. And these are the things that they cannot afford to have happen over the course of this game. Is Dan Achatz wants to talk things over with his squad, given they are now trailing 1-0 and have been plagued by turnovers in the first few minutes here in the first quarter with 8:35 to go. It is Southside 1, Plainedge 0. Reminder that the Nassau County playoffs coming up with the girls next week. Varsity Media is your home for the 2025 Section 8 playoffs. So you go to varsitymediapass.com to order. As we are getting down to the nitty-gritty of the regular season, and with the postseason on the horizon, the level of play just increases, as Southside can attest to, as well as Plainedge. As the Red Devils, at this point, just trying to gain possession so that they can get their offense an opportunity here, putting a lot of pressure on their defense in the early stages of this contest. And it has been a game of musical chairs for Dan Achatz and company because of the injuries. I mentioned Dinellen, who's their top scorer, but on the defensive side of things, Plainedge has been missing a very key weapon in Nick Casino. So you're talking about your best player on each side of the ball absent for Plainedge. And those are two very big voids that they have had to fill. Trying to keep this a 1-goal game in quarter number 1. And Plainedge now with a chance to find the equalizer. Schiffelbein has not had to find much activity to work with over the course of this contest thus far. So we'll see whether or not that takes a toll on him as he monitors the pipes. Matthew Barry, midfielder, giving it up is Keavney, their top scorer, with Denellen injured, is able to establish his presence and tie this game at 1. And a huge goal for Plainedge. As we take another look, you'll see Keavney found the perfect angle off the right side, and that is his 32nd goal of the season. He is second on the team in points coming in with 47. Well, he's going to add to that tally as well. They moved him from midfielder to attack due to all the injuries, and he's now getting double-teamed, especially with Denellen out of the lineup. And this is a big win off the face-off for Plainedge, which has an opportunity to put a sluggish start behind them in possession here with a chance to move in front. And their last game, most of the regulars didn't play because they were gearing up for the regular season conference finale, as that shot off the mark by Dom Agavino, the sophomore midfielder who's tied for second on the team with 30 goals. And he has also been electric in recent play. 11 goals in his last 3 appearances, 5 games with 3+ goals this season. And unlike the other players that have moved around, Agavino has actually been a steady starter for them in the midfield. And when I talked with Dan Hackett earlier this week, he said Agavino's been phenomenal this season, and that's why they're relying on him to lead the charge. There's Agavino giving it up to Barry. Plainedge trying to get a shot off here with 45 on the clock. Keavney had an opportunity on the last possession as he works his way above the crease. Good ball movement here. Unselfish play as Keavney has it, and they'll reset. That shot blocked and denied by Schiffelbein, the senior goalie for Southside, heading to SUNY Maritime. 16 on the shot clock for Plainedge. Trying to get it to Keavney. And from straight away, they dial it up for the go-ahead goal. Casey Auer, the sophomore midfielder, with his 9th goal of the season, and right off the bouncer is able to skip it past Schiffelbein as we take another look. And Plainedge now in front here, 2-1. Auer has been a defensive midfielder, but he switched to the offensive side. Still getting comfortable in his new position. You couldn't tell, though, based on that offering. And last week against Wantagh, Dan Hackett actually had his midfielders playing defense and offense. So that position group overall, it has been a roller coaster, but they have been steady thus far in the early stages of this one. As Southside in possession off the faceoff. And they're now in the trailing spot. They already have a goal from their top man, Luke Mullen. Cullen Lynch working with it from the X spot. They try to give it up into the slot. And it's a turnover as Plainedge with the takeaway now has a chance to pad its lead. And the Red Devils starting to come alive here. Changing the trajectory of this game. Casey Auer already with a goal. Is now going to give it up to Agavino. And that skipper is blocked and denied from Brady Kelly, the sophomore attacker, who is replacing Owen Dinellen, who has a team-high 51 points. He was sidelined for multiple injuries this year. First, it was the hamstring. He recovered from that, and he suffered a shoulder injury May 6th against Lynbrook. But they do anticipate he will be back for the playoffs. So off the stop, Southside now. Looking to settle down. As Vetter now looking to make his move. And that pass, ill-advised over the head of John Hawthorne, who somehow is able to flip it up and keep it alive here with Cullen Lynch taking over. Off the dodge, and that shot goes wide from Jack Mascarella. And Southside still trying to fight for position here. And they're going to salvage it. Initially, a near takeaway by Plainedge. It's a hot potato. Southside still looking to recover. And finally, they do so. But it is going to be a shot clock violation. And as a result, Plainedge is going to take over here. So Plainedge's defense changing the balance of this game. So Southside, after the high pass now, taking over. As we approach 3 minutes to go here in quarter number one, Plainedge in front of Southside 2-1. Regular season finale for both of these teams. Southside at 11-4, Plainedge at 7-8. And both teams coming off losses in which they allowed 14 goals. And that is another goal for Southside. Tyler Samarani with his 13th goal of the season. He had 5 goals in the last 4 games coming in, including a hat trick against Syosset on April 30th. And now he's going to add another to the tally. As we take a look at the celebration following the goal, Samarani greeted immediately by Connor Sheehan. And it's a 2-2 game. And a win initially off the face-off is still bobbled around. Everybody in the mix. And finally, Plainedge is going to claim possession with Keaveney. So a missed opportunity by the Cyclones after they won the initial face-off. .40 on the shot clock. As the Red Devils looking to go to work here. Keaveney, who scored their first goal, looking for number 2 as he tries to get around Ryan Madden. The long stickman. And that shot goes wide. They'll have 11 on the clock and counting here. Trying to make something happen. And that shot just bounces past Schiffelbein. A fortuitous one in favor of Casey Auer, who comes through with his second goal of the day. And here's another look. You're going to see Auer off the dodge, and initially Schiffelbein put his body in between the pipes and then lost track of where the ball went, and it went right beyond the line for goal number 3 for Plainedge. as the Red Devils now back in front by a goal. And a huge face-off here towards the final minute and a half here of quarter number one. And Southside is able to come up with it. As Nataro will leave it to his mates to do the heavy lifting. Schwartzberg, the senior midfielder, trying to set a screen as Mullen gets tripped up, still working with it. Dewana not giving them an opening. So here's Jack Muscarella from the X with 40 seconds and counting. Schwartzberg's bouncer goes wide. And Plainedge is going to take over here with 35 seconds. And this is a chance for them for the first time to pad their lead. As Dewana comes out in front, and that pass to Keaveney, not on the same page, so Southside here with 20 seconds and counting has a huge opportunity. Weaving in and out of traffic, and that bouncer goes beyond the goal, and Plainedge dodges an absolute bullet with 4.9 seconds to go. So Keaveney's going to let it fly, and that is going to do it for quarter number one here in Rockville Center, New York. 5 total goals scored as Plainedge takes a 1-goal lead, thanks in part to that man, Casey Hour, with a pair of goals already on the evening, with the Red Devils in front by a goal here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson, you're watching Varsity Media.
Varsity Media is now opening up our schedule to any team looking to be on a sportscast. Watching yourself on camera is okay, but hearing your name on a Varsity Media sportscast is like you're a pro.
And look at this opportunity. Feldman behind. Jersey pulled. Feldman! Feldman!
Loose ball, Keyshawn White has it. He's just going to let it fly. Oh! Keyshawn White from half court. That is cash! What a way to end the third quarter.
Look at this. Merrill. No slide. No problem. Gary Merrill goes top corner.
Varsity Media offers sports coverage for any sport, and our coverage airs live and on demand so everyone can watch the game. Now is the time to be a star on Varsity Media. Contact us to book a sportscast today at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
Back here in Rockville Center, New York. So glad you could join us on the Varsity Media Sports Network as Plainedge takes a 3-2 lead over Southside into the start of the second quarter. Plainedge went down early after Southside scored the first goal thanks to its top man, Luke Mullen. But since then, Plainedge has looked like a completely different team. And it is Southside winning the opening faceoff to the second quarter, and with a chance to knot this game up at 3. Samrani with the other goal for the Cyclones, who have played a number of nail-biters as of late. But they're just enjoying being back home after 6 straight games on the road. It's almost as if they had to familiarize themselves again with their own backyard. Hawthorne, who has been red hot as of late, boxed out. It was a good job by Mark Fama And that is a goal for Southside to knot things up at 3. As again, in the blink of an eye, they wasted no time going to work. As we take another look, here is a bit of a spread the wealth mentality. And when in doubt, feed Luke Mullen for his 2nd goal of the day and his 47th of the season. So the Plainedge lead short-lived, less than a minute into the 2nd quarter. Southside able to strike again. And it is a battle at center field. And Southside is going to come up with it. So again, the hustle paying off. As Mike Benfante, who Steve DiPietro calls the best defensive midfielder in the country, able to scoop that up and allow his offense now to take over. Looking to turn the page after trailing by 1 following the first 12 minutes. As that shot sneaks through off the stick of Cullen Lynch. So Mullins got 2, and now Lynch has 1. And Southside quickly moving back in front, 4-3. The senior captain heading to Iona off the dodge, just smokes one right through 3 defenders and past Dewana into the bottom right side. Lynch coming in with 6 games of 3 or more goals. 15 goals in the last 5 games after he had just 3 in the span of 3 contests. And he had none against Cold Spring Harbor back on April 25th. As Steve DiPietro talking things over with his squad as we take a look at the college commits for the Cyclones. I mentioned Lynch is heading to Iona. Goalie Cole Schiffelbein to SUNY Maritime, and Braden Gamberg will be taking his talents to Wagner. This is a talented program that knows how to produce some of the best players at the next level in the sport of lacrosse. And this game has turned very quickly here in the 2nd quarter. It's amazing how momentum has shifted in this contest. We went from a 1-0 Southside lead to Plainedge, then taking command in the latter stages of the 1st quarter, and 2 quick goals by Southside here early on in the 2nd has given them a 1-goal advantage. And a lot of it is a product of winning the faceoff. Now look at Nataro coming in, winning 56% of the time. The sophomore who has worked with Michael Melkonian, who graduated last year, is now at Cornell, 2024 Nassau County Player of the Year, and that is paying off by working with one of the finest. And Southside still battling here, but it is going to be Plainedge that is able to take control with Gorman, who will give it up. Gorman, a full go. He stays on the field. And Plainedge now trying to ignite a rally here in the 1st half. We have seen stretches in this contest where Schiffelbein could take a meal break. And there he can't afford to, because Plainedge off the X spot, right on the mark. And it is Dom Agavino with his 31st goal of the season. You'll see he just was able to lift it right over the stick of Schiffelbein, and what a dodge maneuver. As he was able to navigate the Southside defense. We had Mike Benfante, who tried to get his stick in the mix there as well, but he got it through him as well as Schiffelbein. And leads have not lasted very long in this contest. So back to the face-off mentality we go, with neither team able to stay in front for very long. And Gorman with back-to-back wins, allows the Red Devils to perhaps strike again. So the extra rest may be paying off for Plainedge. Most of the regulars were able to regroup and try to get healthy as they watched Tuesday's contest against Port Washington, but this one very much active. As Barry is trying to set a screen, and that one launched right off the stick of Schiffelbein. Plainedge putting on the defensive pressure to slow down Southside. As we're going to have a timeout here. As Dan Ackett's group has been a pesky group of players thus far. Despite the injuries, they have been able to stick with Southside here as we look at their college commits. Matt Chadwick, who is entering this game nursing an injury, is heading to Marist. Owen Dinellen, who's out due to a shoulder injury, will be taking his talents to Stony Brook. And Kieran Judge going to Malloy. As Plainedge, very much like Southside, sending a number of players to the next level. The Red Devils 3-5 in conference play. And while they know that this game may not do much for seeding for them, Dan Ackett's feels as if they'll get the 3 seed. They have an opportunity to perhaps play a little bit of spoiler, with Southside looking to lock up the #1 overall seed. And Dan Ackett's even pointed out, they've had some impressive wins this season, where they edged Lynbrook 13-11 on May 6th. Seaford and Bethpage earlier this season. And Ackett's is a product of Seaford. He then headed to Rutgers, where he played lacrosse. And in his first full year as the head coach after taking over midseason last year, he wasn't assisted for 4 years, where he was responsible for the offense. So the players knew him. It was an established relationship, but it's very different when you're now at the controls, and little by little, he's trying to put his stamp all over this program. So Southside out of the timeout, looking at a shot on goal as that one bounces wide. Hawthorne able to salvage it here with 40 seconds on the shot clock. And Cullen Lynch, with the aid of a screen from Cole Perner, on the dodge and finds the back of the net. Cullen Lynch with his second goal of the day puts the Cyclones back in front 5-4 as he matches his mate Luke Mullen. And the screen from Perner started it. It gave a step for Lynch, who then was able to get ahead of the defense and a little in and out motion to throw it right past Dewada. So Southside already with 3 goals here in the second quarter. And Natara able to pick it up and give it up to Perner, as Southside looking for more. And this is a Cyclones team that has scored double-digit goals in 10 of their 15 games coming in. They also had another contest where they scored 9. So Plainedge knows what it's up against. And they have not lost 2 games in a row this season, the Cyclones. And they're coming off a loss to Manhasset. And all 4 of their setbacks have come on the road. They have protected their home turf, so they look to give themselves some breathing room. Mullen giving it up to Perner, as Samarani playing catch with Schwartzberg. We approach 7 minutes to go in the first half. Perner off the crease, and he misfires on that one. So Plainedge trying to put together its offensive attack late here in the second quarter as the outlet pass successfully gets them in position. Keavney scored their first goal. Since then, Southside's defense has kept close tabs on him, which is exactly what John Muscarella is doing as we speak. And that shot by Brady Kelly goes wide. It'll stay with the Red Devils. They'll have 38 on the shot clock. As Keavney leaves it for Barry, and Schiffelbein and company not going to let that one through. Brady Kelly, the sophomore attacker, with 11 goals and a team-leading 24 assists. Off the dodge, looking for an open space. And again, it's Southside's defense that is not allowing him to maneuver, as Benfante all over him. He's trying to get a feed here, and it goes wide of Keavney. There's 15 on the shot clock if they can keep this alive, and they won't. So here comes Southside as we approach 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, trying to make it a 6-4 affair. Perner, the sophomore attacker, who is so slick with his stick. Maybe a little undersized, but the way he plays, he doesn't make you notice his frame. Lynch already with 2 goals in this game, off the screen from Hawthorne. And a takeaway by Plainedge as they head into transition with Agavino. Kelly surveying the field, and we'll have Agavino out of the X. Here's Picardi, who we have not heard from much this evening, as they'll whip it around the perimeter. Everybody spreading the wealth here. Kelly D'd up by John Kufta, all up in his grill. 20 on the shot clock. They get it back to the X. The feed inside, just wide, and then Keavney's shot not getting a clear passage thanks to Schiffelbein, as Picardi tried to feed it to Agavino in the crease. So Southside's defense all of a sudden shoring things up after Plainedge found some cracks early on in this game. Inching closer to the 3-minute mark here in the first half. Brendan Vetter, the junior. You could see fully recovered from that torn ACL 2 years ago. As speaking of denials, it's Dewana that got in the way of that offering, and Plainedge with a takeaway. As Dewana could not handle it, and then the outlet pass goes to the ground. So Hawthorne giving it up to Perner off the spin, and he is able to get through. Cole Perner turning a turnover into a goal. The sophomore strikes gold for the 5th time this season, and it's a 2-goal advantage as he spins, fires, and gets it right underneath Dewana. Small frame, big heart, and a big swing. And Southside now leading Plainedge 6-4 with 2.5 minutes to go, and a huge face-off coming. And that is going to go in favor of Southside. So they have a chance here with time dwindling down to give themselves even more wiggle room. Perner, who had the goal on the last possession, now looking to facilitate to Schwartzberg. Screen set by Mullen. Perner out of the X. They'll reset with Jack Muscarella. 15 on the shot clock. Muscarella now in the X position. He spins and finds an opening for his first goal today. Jack Muscarella with his 12th goal of the season, the junior, doing it all by himself off the dodge. One defender, and then right around Dewana. As we take another look, he was trying to solve the Kevney riddle, did so effectively, and that left it mano a mano with the attacker against the goalie. And Southside wins yet another face-off. And Steve DiPietro is going to use a timeout here to try to set up his offense with a chance to give themselves even more of a cushion. And with that, we'll take a breather. We've got a good one here in Rockville Center, New York. Southside leading Plainedge 7-4 on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
Back here at Southside High School in Rockville Center, New York, is the Cyclones with a 3-goal lead over Plainedge in the regular season finale before these teams gear up for the playoffs. And with just under a minute and a half to go, Steve DiPietro, head coach of the Cyclones, talking things over as his team has dominated here in the second quarter. It was a 1-goal lead for Plainedge, 3-2. And since then, the Red Devils have been outscored 5-1. And the biggest difference is winning the faceoffs with Alec Nataro. So we'll see the approach here because they can milk a lot of the remaining clock left in this game for the first half. Especially with the shot clock starting at 60 and a little over a minute to go. Little inside-outside action, and that leads to another goal. Southside getting everybody involved, and Luke Mullen with a hat trick here in the first half alone. As we take a look, Perner spotting him up, and Mullen just stroking it right past Dewana. A little bouncer into the bottom left corner of the net. And Perner, who really has been the unsung hero for the Cyclones, scoring, facilitating it, you name it. That was his 7th assist of the season for Perner, and Notaro able to knock it away and allow his teammates to again take possession here with 45 seconds and counting, doubling up Plainedge 8-4 and looking for that elusive 9th goal. As that shot blocked, and Fonte tried to rip it. Southside still in possession here. With Vetter looking to get into the X position. 10 seconds to work with. He had Muscarella in front of the net as Vetter tries to go behind his back. It's a loose ball, and that is going to do it. So a surge in the second quarter by Southside as they put up 6 goals to take an 8-4 lead into the half. Cole Perner, he is able to get one past Dewana for his 5th of the season. And then, how about this activity by Jack Muscarella? In and out of the defense and around Dewana for a goal of his own, his 12th. It is Plainedge trailing Southside 8-4 as we head to the break on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Pole goal, yes! A man down pole goal as well. Busking, the skip somehow found its way through. BTB and a save!
At the buzzer, we have
the Long Island Lacrosse Showcase is the premier opportunity for the high school players from Long Island to be recognized for their lacrosse skills. For over a decade, this event has been widely recognized as the premier event for exposure before college coaches of all levels. Players showcase their abilities while competing to earn a spot to represent their county in the Long Island Showcase Nassau versus Suffolk Games. Hosted in collaboration with the high school lacrosse coaches of Nassau and Suffolk counties, the Long Island Lacrosse Showcase had over 90 college coaches attend various rounds of the showcase. Make sure to register today.
two-man game.
Nice save up high.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net. It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
Varsity Media is now opening up our schedule to any team looking to be on a sportscast. Watching yourself on camera is okay, but hearing your name on a Varsity Media sportscast is like you're a pro.
And look at this opportunity. Feldman behind. Jersey pulled. Feldman! Feldman!
The loose ball, Keyshawn White has it. He's just going to let it fly. Oh! Keyshawn White from half court. That is cash! What a way to end the third quarter.
Look at this. Merrill. No slide. No problem. Gary Merrill goes top corner.
Varsity Media offers sports coverage for any sport, and our coverage airs live and on demand so everyone can watch the game. Now is the time to be a star on Varsity Media. Contact us to book a sportscast today at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media. You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
Merrill, he's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the faceoff. That's 3 in a row now.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is 75,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
Back here in Rockville Center, New York, the home of Southside High School. Cyclones with an 8-4 lead over Plainedge as we're about ready to start the third quarter with the Cyclones coming alive with 6 goals in the second. And we want to thank the Lucchese family for sponsoring today's game, the regular season finale for both of these teams here in Nassau County before they look ahead to playoff action, and Southside trying to lock up the number 1 seed in their conference. Both of these teams in Class C, Power Conference. Southside moving from Class B, where they were last year, won the national title with a 21-1 mark. Plainedge with Dan Achatz in his first full year. He wanted the team to play in the Power Conference because he wants to raise the bar, raise the standard of this squad. And they're going to have to put on the rally caps here in the second half as they had a hard time slowing down that man, Alec Notaro, who set the tone by winning face-off after face-off. And Devin Gorman trying to win the early one here in the second half to give Plainedge's offense an opportunity to claw its way back into this contest. They had a 3-2 lead, but it was a completely different story in the second quarter. And right between the legs, it goes initially to Southside, and Plainedge on the takeaway is then going to wind up holding on to it. A push from behind will enable them to retain possession as Casey Auer lost his footing. So this being their first possession of the second half, a significant one. They can get a goal here early. It could do wonders to help start that rally. With Dom Agavino, sophomore midfielder who had a goal in the first half, will now reset. He has been so steady and so solid with multiple players injured around him, and he's had to stabilize the midfield position given Keavney and Picardi both had to change spots, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered. Andrew Picardi off the right side with his first goal of the game and his 10th of the season, the junior attacker. Off the feed, able to find an alley to get that through. As we see, Southside tried to slow him down, but to no avail. As John Schmidt tried to get his stick in the way, and Picardi able to maneuver around it. And another win by Nataro. So Southside will look to gain one back, still up by 3. And no surprise, they get into the hands of Luke Mullen, already with a hat trick in this game. And he has 4 games with 5+ goals. 2 away from adding another one in that category. Perner, so shifty and so smart in terms of his decision making. As he leaves it for Hawthorne, and Dewana able to get a stick in the way. And Hawthorne is the one name that we have not mentioned scoring a goal. That is because there is so much talent and weaponry on the offensive side of the ball for Southside. Vetter, he's going to give it up. It's Perner with 36 on the shot clock. We'll leave it for Hawthorne. Here's Lynch off the right side of the crease. The feed inside to Perner, and Perner with his second goal. So this time it's Lynch facilitating, and Perner now is up to 6 goals on the season. His movement without the ball doing wonders to get the better of the Plainedge defense, and Southside restores a 4-goal advantage as we look. Lynch draws in the defense towards him, and Perner is able to put it right past Dewana. 9-5, Cyclones in front, as each team has 1 goal here in the third. Nataro's been a menace off the faceoff. And he'll leave it for Samrani. Steve DiPietro describing Samrani as a guy that brings a lot of raw energy, tools, and intangibles to this team. He has a goal already in this contest as he and Schwartzberg play catch. And here's the screen from Schwartzberg, a little pick and pop out as that shot stopped by Dewana. And a much needed presence between the pipes for Plainedge, and a great outlet jump starts the Red Devils offense. Plainedge struck first here in the third, but Southside responded with Perner. Can they draw it up yet again? Off the dodge, firing and scoring is Casey Auer. So give Auer a hat trick. At the 7:46 mark here in the third, the sophomore able to push it right past Schiffelbein as he had a step yet again on the Southside defense. So Casey Auer having himself an evening. I mean, think about this. He came into this game with 8 goals. He already has 3 in this contest alone. And we interrupt this game to bring you the Nataro Show once again. Face-off after face-off has gone his way, but it's a turnover and a takeaway for Plainedge, and a wide-open opportunity for the Red Devils. Andrew Picardi with his second goal in the right place at the right time. And the offensive clinic continues with 16 combined goals in this game. And the pass wide, so you're going to see Picardi come in with the scoop. He's got a one-on-one opportunity, and he is able to solve Schiffelbein between the pipes. As Southside was trying to clear it, and Liam Horn could not get a handle on that wide pass. So Plainedge pulling within 2. As both offenses have not missed a beat, and a big win by Gorman off the faceoff. And again, Plainedge can dial it up here as they put it in the stick of Keaveney. So glad you could join us for this regular season finale in Nassau County here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Lance Meadow with you. This game has had some ebbs and flows. And don't count out the Red Devils just yet. Trailing by 4 goals in this game, they've cut the deficit in half. Keaveney off the spin, drawing the double. He's in no man's land. And it is the defensive attack by Southside to make the stop. So the Cyclones now trying to milk some clock as they leave it for Lynch. And Lynch has really had to alter his game because of the attention that he's received this season. And that bouncer is going to go in for Brendan Vetter. Able to sneak it through Dewana. And it's a 10-7 advantage for Southside as Vetter, with his 11th goal of the season, a little left-to-right maneuver. He splits the defense. And as a result, it appeared as if Dewana was shielded by his own defender. And that's why he did not have a great angle to get his stick in the way. So Vetter, who is a completely different player, now fully healthy, 2 years removed from the ACL injury after being sidelined last season. And it's good to see him so active and well in the mix on the offensive side. Plainedge was within 2. Southside now has restored a 3-goal lead. They're looking to make it 4. Hawthorne leaves it for Lynch. And they are not giving Hawthorne any breathing room as he throws one in front. It's blocked. Can Plainedge come up with it? And Southside is still skipping away. And finally, the Red Devils able to come up with the ball is Jackson Goronski, their top defenseman, all conference last season. Able to assist with the stop as we'll have a timeout here, with Southside leading Plainedge 10-7 with just under 5 minutes to go in the third. And a reminder that Varsity Media is your home for the 2025 Section 8 playoffs. Go to varsitymediapass.com to order as we wrap up the regular season here today between both of these teams. And we flip the script and the page to the second season, the 2025 Nassau County playoffs. Stay locked right here to the Varsity Media Sports Network for all the action. And Southside trying to claim yet another state title as we look at what this program has accomplished and achieved. 2 Nassau championships, 2 Long Island titles, a pair of state championships, 15 All-Americans, and 380 all-time victories. And that resume certainly jumps off the screen, as well as the field. And you see how balanced this group is this year. You would never know that they have 7 sophomores and 1 freshman, especially at this stage of the season, given how experienced this group is. But you look at Luke Mullen, a hat trick. Cullen Lynch has 2. Samrani, Vetter chipping in, and Perner with a pair of goals. 3 players with multi-goal performances for Southside as they get into double digits for the 11th time in 16 games. Plainedge trying to knock on the door of goal 8, and that will not happen on this possession. And Schiffelbein able to get his stick in there after a dangerous outlet. We approach 4 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Samrani in possession for the Cyclones. Trying to get it into the X position. And that pass was wide, intended for Jack Muscarella. So the turnover will give it back to Plainedge. Is Keaveney. Leaves it for Goronski. And after some helter-skelter play, it's Agavino that comes out of the pile. If Plainedge could get it to a 2-goal, 1-goal deficit at the end of 3, that could do wonders for this squad. As that shot blocked by Schiffelbein. It'll stay with Plainedge. Picardi in possession, out of the X. Keaveney at the top as Kelly now takes over. Southside doing a nice job keeping them out on the perimeter. They have not been able to feed anything inside. As Keaveney now doubled. Will this create an opportunity? 20 on the shot clock. Here's Barry. Keaveney, the pass underneath to Kelly, who swings for the fences to make it 10-8. His 12th goal of the season. And a beautiful feed by Brian Keaveney. Take a look, off the left side, puts it exactly where Kelly needed it to have a one-on-one opportunity against Schiffelbein. And that is textbook lacrosse on the offensive attack. Keaveney came in with 16 assists. And off the face-off, Southside in control with under 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Hawthorne triple teamed as the ball cleared out. It'll stay with Southside. And you could tell they read the scouting report knowing they're not going to give Hawthorne an opportunity. But it's his teammates that have benefited from the attention that Hawthorne has created, as he is able to rip one towards the net. But off the mark on that one. Jack Muscarella over his shoulder winds up leaving it for Vetter. 23 on the shot clock for Brendan. Inside, and they were going for the slam dunk, but just unsuccessful out in front. As Lynch lost it. Good defense there by Johnny Sinar. And another great stop by Doana. So with under a minute to go, here comes Plainedge with a chance to pull within a goal. As personnel shuffled in and out, Doana will come out from in front of the cage. And they get it into the hands of Sinar. And a flag is going to come in here, as we'll have our first penalty. And Steve DiPietro clearly not pleased with the call, making his case. So Plainedge with an opportunity here with 15 seconds and counting. And they're just going to let the clock run out here and not take any chances. So it stays 10-8 in favor of Southside after one, as Plainedge playing with heavy hearts this evening after losing a former teammate on the football side, Vincent Cavalieri, 20 years old, losing his life this past weekend.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
And back here in Rockville Center, New York, to start the fourth quarter on the Varsity Media Sports Network, with Southside leading Plainedge 10-8. As Plainedge was able to chip away late in the third quarter. They did not want to take any chances with 15 seconds to go after the penalty against Mike Benfante. But the man up, continuing here. at the start of the fourth quarter, and now you're going to see a far more aggressive approach by Plainedge. And this is a huge possession to start the fourth. They get it to Keavney on the dodge, and a stick held up there by Schiffelbein to prevent what would have maybe made it a one-goal game. They get it back to Keavney, trying to draw the defense out. As Keavney will make his way behind the net into the X position. And tries to dump it inside to Picardi. And Kelly hustling towards the loose ball. 20 on the shot clock with the penalty over. And Kelly feeds it to Keavney, who bounces it through to make it a one-goal game. Brian Keavney with his second goal, his 33rd of the season, which leads the team. And Kelly, off the spin, created that opening for his teammate. As Kelly came in leading the team with 24 assists, and he gets it right to Keavney, who goes low side and forced Schiffelbein into an awkward position and got the better of him. So don't go away here with a one-goal game in the fourth. And Notaro picking up where he left off. But that is going to give it back to Plainedge here. So despite losing the face-off, the Red Devils in possession with an opportunity to erase a 4-goal deficit and tie this game. As the ball's still on the ground, it finally picked up by Casey Auer, who's got a hat trick. Ten minutes to go here in the fourth. Agavino with Benfante all over him. This is quite the matchup. And the feed inside intended for Keavney broken up. And Southside's defense put a lot of traffic in the crease and made sure that there wasn't going to be any openings, as John Muscarella getting his stick in the way to help break that up. So Southside trying to give itself some padding. They scored 6 goals in the second to surge ahead and have an 8-4 lead at the break. Cyclones with Mullen off the spin, and Luke again delivers. Give him 4 goals today, and it's an 11-9 Southside cushion as Mullen did all this heavy lifting on his own, creating space through the defense. As you'll see, beat one man and then right past Dewana. And that is the craftiness of the sophomore attacker, who was up with varsity last year as a freshman. Plenty of experience that he gained has helped him leapfrog into what has been a stellar sophomore campaign. And Southside now off another face-off, in control here. Every time Plainedge has crept closer, the Cyclones have always seemed to have an answer. And that has been problematic for the Red Devils. As Lynch talking things over with Brendan Vetter. Here's Hawthorne into the screen as he rips one towards the goal. And that goes wide. So Jack Muscarella out of the X. And that throw inside, broken up by Dewana. And off the deflection, it's going to stay with Southside. They'll have 19 on the shot clock. We'll first have a conference here by the officials. Making sure everybody's on the same page. And let's have conference part 2. As both officials making sure that they're seeing this the same way. And they're going to reset the shot clock to 60. And that is significant for Southside with now an opportunity to milk even more clock here. With 7:40 and counting. As Vetter was unsuccessful getting it by Dewana, and a beautiful outlet pass gives Plainedge some momentum. Keaveney giving it up, and Kelly's shot denied by Schiffelbein. Some excellent goaltending on both sides of the equation. And some nifty passing as well. Kelly and Keaveney, it goes back to what Dan Atkins was talking about, that the attacker's still trying to get on the same page. Well, you wouldn't have known that they have not spent as much time as they would have liked this season together, because the passing today has been clinic-worthy. Keaveney, through 3 defenders, gets thrown down. And he stepped into the crease area as we give it back to Southside. On their home turf, trying to hold on to this 2-goal lead. Cyclones have yet to lose back-to-back games this season. They're coming off a loss to Manhasset on the road, 14-8 on Tuesday. As that shot goes right through the net for Cullen Lynch, as he now has a hat trick to join Luke Mullen. And Lynch showing some muscle on this offering as he uses his speed and his power to rifle one right past Dewana. He got past Johnny Sinar, and that gave him plenty of room to take full advantage of. So it's back to a 3-goal lead for the Cyclones, who are living up to their nickname with an offensive performance to remember today. And Nataro, speaking of memorable performances, is making sure he fills up his stat sheet with face-off victory after face-off victory. And that has been a huge X factor in this contest. the extra possessions. And it was something that Plainedge head coach Dan Achatz talked about, saying Devin Gorman needs to keep us close to 50%. And instead, it's Nataro that has lived up to that billing. As that shot bounces wide. Schwartzberg. Will give it up to working around the perimeter. As Mullen leaves it for Samarani, and Samarani showcasing his pretty stroke for his second goal of the day. 13, lucky number 13 for Southside, restoring a 4-goal lead over Plainedge as Mullen spots up Samarani off the top. And he had a clear path as the defender, was hard to tell who that was, but literally ducked at the last second to actually make it easier on Samarani to fire towards the net. So Samarani now with 14 goals this season, and look at the maneuvering here by Nataro and Gorman. Is the ball loose? Jockeying for position still. And it's coughed up and goes right into the stick of Casey Auer. And that shot right into the stick of none other than Schiffelbein. The senior goalie doing everything he can to preserve this 4-goal lead for his team. And you go back to their opener against Gill St. Bernard's, where he came in after the team was down 5-2 in the first quarter, took over, they won 11-7, and Steve DiPietro said that gave him so much confidence, and he has not looked back after he was able to close the door and allow his teammates to do the rest for that season-opening W. As that shot wide from Kieran Vetter. We've seen his brother involved heavily in the game plan. Out in front, Jack Muscarella boxed out. Under 4 minutes to go. Does Plainedge have one late surge? That is the question. Well, it's going to have to start here with Dom Agavino. There's the outlet. Overshot Keaveney. And there was clearly contact, so a flag comes out. Plainedge felt that was the reason why the outlet pass sailed over the head of Keaveney, was because there was some activity from behind. As it has been quite the chatter going on here on the field throughout the course of this game. So it's going to be a man-up advantage here for Plainedge, as the penalty goes against Southside. Colin Kenny, defensive midfielder. And Plainedge now with an opportunity Can they capitalize? They go to Keavney as he misfires. So they'll have to reset. Keavney put a little too much mustard on that one. And Keavney, you could tell, he's got the frame. Quite the presence as he operates at the top. And an ill-advised pass inside, taken away by Southside. So Plainedge not able to take advantage. And as a result, the Cyclones can milk some more clock here. As Benfonte will come off the field. 2.5 minutes to go in the regular season finale as Southside looking to lock up the #1 seed for the playoffs. Samarani gives it up to Perner, and Hawthorne will now take over as the seconds tick away here en route to the 2-minute mark. There's a Southside team that saw 27 players graduate from last year's state winning squad. A youth movement infused, and they have not missed a beat. There's another flag coming in here. And we'll also have a timeout with both teams with an opportunity to talk over strategy. Southside leading Plainedge 13-9 with under 2 minutes to go in the fourth here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
Back here in Rockville Center, New York, as the penalty going against Plainedge. Casey Auer picking it up. So Southside will now have a man advantage for 30 seconds, leading by 4. And at this stage, Cyclones simply just trying to milk some clock and add an exclamation point to what will be their 12th victory of the season. And Steve DiPietro's team back home after 6 straight games on the road. 10 seconds left on the penalty. We'll see whether or not they choose to shoot it, or given still plenty of time on the shot clock, they are in no pressure situation to do that, and they don't. They got 27 left on the shot clock. And that throw-in is broken up. And Plainedge will take over with under a minute to go. Plainedge had an early 3-2 lead, got within a goal, 10-9, before Southside scored 3 unanswered. As the Cyclones have consistently responded over the course of this evening. And with 34 seconds and counting, Plainedge is just going to watch the clock expire, as they're just happy to get out of this game healthy, and hopefully they will get their top scorer back for the playoffs, Owen Dinellen, who has 30 goals at 51 points and could very well help them provide a spark as the final seconds tick away. And it is a final here in Rockville Center, New York. Southside locking up the number 1 seed for the playoffs with a 13-9 victory over Plainedge as they improved to 12-4 and 6-2 in the conference. The Red Devils falling to 7-9 and 3-6 in the conference as Southside was able to jump on Plainedge early with Luke Mullen. And from that point on, they just spread the wealth as their top 2 guys, Luke Mullen and Cullen Lynch, combining for 7 of the 13 goals for the Cyclones. And a big reason why this team is in position to compete for yet another state title. Quite remarkable considering how much talent graduated, 27 to be exact. A 6-goal second quarter clearly was a huge difference maker after Plainedge led by a goal after the first 3-2. But their offensive attack backed up Cole Schiffelbein. And even when Plainedge made things interesting, Schiffelbein, I'm sure if you have a one-on-one conversation with him, he'll say, hey, it was the offense. They gave me some flexibility today where I didn't necessarily have to be perfect. And I think what's the most impressive statistic of all is that they have scored double-digit goals in 11 of their 16 games this season. And one other game they had 9. So really, if you want to extend the wealth, you could say 12 of the 16 games, they essentially put up double-digit goals or right on the surface of that tally. And that says an awful lot and speaks volumes of the consistent, balanced attack for this team. As Steve DiPietro getting closer to 200 victories with this program, as they are now going to turn their attention to the playoffs as we take a look at some of the highlights from this contest. And it started early with Plainedge and Agavino, and then how about Cole Perner with one of his 2 goals, even Jack Muscarella muscling his way in, as it wasn't just about Luke Mullen and Cullen Lynch. Casey Auer with a hat trick, but it was Southside that had the last laugh. A 13-9 victory over Plainedge. We want to thank our executive producer, Ben Turchin, technical director, Chris Sweeney, our camera operators, Joe Foster and Evan Richardson. Lance Meadows saying so long from Rockville Center, New York. Here are the Varsity Media Sports Network.